Big Basket presents the RCB podcast.
He's got a bit of West Indian flavor. Phil Salt has certainly peppered the boundaries when it comes to RCB this season. Big Basket presents the RCB podcast Bold and Beyond, in conversation with a person who's given you something to cheer in the power plays.
How's it going?
Not bad, how are you?
I'm good. I think at the unbox, you pretty much made your intentions very clear with how your relationship with Virat was going to go the whole season. It was a nice little playful banter. You made sure you got his attention. Let's just put it across there. Smart move.
Yeah.
That was pre-planned?
It wasn't pre-planned.
No, it was.
It was very organic in the moment. We had these foam balls and obviously they had to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And everybody was throwing them in the crowd. I thought, no, this one shouldn't go in the crowd. But no, it was very funny. He looked like he wanted to flip on me for a moment.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping that's what would happen. We have a more viral moment. But
Yeah. But no, he took it well, to be fair. I just wished it would have hit Livy instead.
That's a nice big moving target as well. But I mean, it's actually so crucial being opening batters, and you have your style of play, and he's had a style of play for certain years that he's evolved over time. So in terms of the two of you walking out, now teams have to own power plays. You have to get an average of at least 60, if not less than that. The game has changed so much. So how important was it for the two of you to work on your relationships and what you found in common? Because it was a new opening pair for the season.
Yeah, it's always key to have a good relationship with, whoever you're doing that job with. It's more key that you know how they play and they know how you play, so that, when you're out there, you can almost bring out the best versions of each other. We set about building that relationship from when we both arrived here. So pretty pleased with it at the moment, but, obviously we played the first half of the comp, which you normally, that's like the optimistic side of things, especially at the start of a new cycle. Everyone's trying to figure out, where their team lies in the picture, if they've got a good team this year, what works, what doesn't.
But you started the season kind of putting the high standards out there for yourself. I think your first 10 deliveries, you hit 87% of them, if I'm not wrong. I mean, I'm just throwing stats at you. I'm sure you don't care about that from that perspective. But when you start a season like that, the way that you did that too for a new franchise, what is the pressure you take on yourself or to keep that consistency going? What are the things that you go through as a batter to make sure it continues to come off?
That's the thing about cricket, especially now, you have to play a more attacking brand. Does that mean it's going to be the most consistent brand in the world? No. I feel like there's a lot of batters in this league, myself included, who could have the mentality of, I'm going to go put myself somewhere near the orange cap. I'm going to strike at 130, and then if I get past 40, 50, 60, then I'm going to up the exactly that. And that's not a way you can afford to think anymore in the IPL, and that suits me fine. I think as a batting group, I don't think there's many of us that want to have the orange cap. I don't think there's many of us that are in this for ourselves. I think it's about how the team does, and everything we talk about is centered on us winning and how we do that. And I think that's the most important thing in the IPL.
How did the two of you decide the roles you're going to take in that power play? Which bowler are you going to take on? Virat likes to run between the wickets as well. So how do you decide between soaking up the pressure in terms of rotating strike or being, showing your attacking intent?
It's very much a conversation that happens in the middle. And sometimes it's not even a conversation. Sometimes you can just see how the other guy's playing. You think back to maybe like Jaipur. We didn't talk too much in the middle that day, but it was very obvious that every time Virat got on strike, he was just going to give me the strike. Other days it's a little bit more almost touch and go. Delhi at home. Either of us could have gone. We were both hitting the ball well. But I got on strike for the start of the third over, and that was just how it played out. So sometimes it can be a conversation. You say, get me on strike, or I'll get you on strike. And then other times it can just happen organically. So it's very much sort of moving picture.
What are the most ludicrous conversations you had in the middle of batting?
There was one in T10 I remember when I was fighting with Chris Gale. He just told me to hit every ball for 6.
Chris Gale telling you to hit every ball for
like
6?
it was the easiest thing in the world. Yeah. I loved batting with him. Just those sorts of things. I like it when, you know, the talk's positive.
Yeah.
I don't like it when your partner outlines, you know, potential dangers. I think that's the quickest thing that can take you away from, you know,
Potential dangers is in field positioning or bowlers? Or...
in terms of being a bit too like threat aware. I feel like my best partners have been, you know, the ones who understand that the game is skill based, and as long as your skill's all right, you will come out on the right side of that over.
Maga. Weather Andre, perfect fit. Cinema Andre, super hit. 10 minutes Andre.
Boys, big basket. 10 minutes, Andre, big basket. 10 minutes, Andre, big basket.
Big Basket, delivering in Bengaluru and everywhere in 10 minutes.
It's pretty cool actually to see the way that you approach the innings. We had a indication of it obviously last season in KKR. Let's rewind a little bit. How funny is it to be integral part of a team that goes on to win and then next year not be a part of that? Like having to go through auctions and all that again. Like, what were the conversations around that? Your thoughts around that?
It's just sort of the way the game's moving, isn't it? Obviously, you know, coming to the end of a cycle, there's always going to be changes across the board at every franchise. And I think what KKR tried to do was keep a core of, you know, Indian players, which I think is the right move. You know, I had absolutely no problems with that. And obviously they're 2 overseas, the 2 guys that have been there for so long in Andre Russell and Sunil Narayan. So they've won loads of games for KKR. So I think their, you know, sort of auction strategy was spot on. You know, it's probably a shame for them they couldn't retain a few more players.
Did you ever think about, oh God, where am I going next? What's going to happen? Is there any?
Yeah, I did, but I don't like to know. So when the auction came round, and you know, your agents do, or the teams do mock drafts, and your agent has access to them. He kept asking me if I wanted to know.
It never, you know, mock drafts never go the way of the auction.
No,
right?
they never do.
That's just a false sense of security if anyone told you anything.
Yeah.
What did you learn after the mock draft? Actually, this I want to hear.
Nothing.
Oh.
Because he kept asking me what I wanted to hear and what I wanted to know, and I said nothing. So I had no idea about potential landing spots or anything like that.
And then RCB, what were your first thoughts?
First thoughts were, this is a team that I think I'll suit playing in. You know, the way RCB teams have always carried themselves on the pitch, the brand of cricket that's played, and I could see, you know, very clearly from my first conversation with Mo, which wasn't too long after the auction, I could see their reasons for, you know, for signing me and the job they wanted me to do. So it all felt, you know, very aligned with what I do.
I got to ask you something. So how many like headlines or metaphors would you have seen you because of your name, because of your last name, used in like cricket broadcast?
Millions.
What are the funniest one?
I don't think there is a funny one at this point.
No? Give me a good one.
The one that I see all the time is salt peppering boundaries.
Yeah, salt, peppers, and boundaries.
Yeah, that's used by journalists, the big screen at the game.
Yeah.
Everyone uses that one.
Salt seasons the RCB season with some perfect spice.
Yeah, again, another one, seasons.
Season.
Yeah, it's another one. But there's not much spicy about salt, is there?
Well, I don't know. Ask the RCB faithful. They might think differently. Let's go back to childhood a little bit. I think during this T20 World Cup, because we were in Barbados quite a bit, and every time we would be like going to the stadium, every person we had as like a guide would be like, oh, you know, that is where Phil Salt used to play. And that is where, you know, this was your school, I think. We passed by your school a couple of times. How much of that experience do you remember in terms of being central to picking up cricket? You grew up watching football, right?
Yeah.
So, any ambitions of wanting to be a footballer? Like, I think of that?
I did.
Yeah.
I did want to be a footballer at one point. But, you know, when I moved to Barbados, it wasn't high up on the list of things to do. There wasn't the same sort of opportunity there. So cricket was the sport to play. Everybody played cricket. So I thought, okay, I'll have a go at this instead. You know what? Really important. Some of the friends I made out there, just the whole sort of cultural experience of it. Sort of in my formative years as well. It was really cool. It was a pretty cool childhood.
What part of that culture do you feel still kind of stays with you or has shaped you as a person?
I think probably the way that I play and probably my outlook on life. I don't sweat the small stuff a lot. That's not something I do. When I start doing that, I know that I'm taking myself away from what is the best version of myself. And I think the way that I play the game is shaped by being in the West Indies and watching those West Indies sides, and just generally being involved in the game out there. I think that is a massive contributor to what people see on the pitch.
Growing up, do you remember the kind of players that you would see, go to the stadiums and see who were the heroes at that time when you were in your school years?
Oh yeah, I mean, it sort of started off and it was like this sort of Shandapur era.
Yeah.
And then sort of erupted into the whole T20 thing, and Kieran Pollard doesn't want to play Test cricket. Oh my God, someone doesn't want to play Test cricket. What's going on?
Yeah.
That sort of a thing. And then it was the great white ball teams: Chris Gale, Lendl Simmons, Wayne Bravo, Polly, Suleiman Ben.
Yeah.
These are I remember all these guys. And I used to go down as well. My dad used to drop me off at Kensington Oval, and then go to work, and I'd just sort of be there by myself all day, just watching cricket. And then whenever he finished work, he'd just come and pick me back up again. It was brilliant.
Do you have any memories of interacting with any of those players then when you were a kid?
Oh, loads. Sometimes I used to go along and watch Test cricket and take like a different thing every day. And I must have had people's signatures like 25 times. Yeah. Like poor Brendan Nash. I guess he must have signed about 75 different bits of merch for me.
Yeah. And now when you play in the IPL, this is in India, and you're pretty much surrounded by like the Bravos are still there, the Pollards are still there. I know like different roles, but you're all in the same ecosystem. Have you ever thought of it that way?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be a bit surreal. Before we played Mumbai, I was batting in the nets, and Polly came over and shouted me and watched her a bit. And even that, like, I've not played in the team with Polly. He was our consultant for the World Cup just gone in the West Indies. But sometimes just to have people like that shout you when you're not expecting it, it's like, that's a bit, I didn't think I'd be here.
Yeah. Well, you said something really relevant, actually. Pollard's decided not to play Test cricket. Over the years, there's been like this whole sort of conversation about players just opting to choose to concentrate on white ball and maybe give up red ball ambitions because the workload becomes too much. As this generation of cricketers being heavily involved, how do you see that conversation, or how do you view that in terms of a career choice?
I think at the moment the schedule does the decision making for guys. I think the guys who are at the forefront of white ball cricket and playing white ball cricket around the world, I think it's a tough one for them to get right, because when are they going to say no to white ball cricket? If let's say it's their best format, how are they going to shoehorn some 4-day cricket into their schedule? We've had guys opt out of this IPL due to their priorities and how they see it, and they're not bad guys for doing that at all. It's just the landscape of the game at the moment. People are prioritizing what they want to be best at, and that works both ways.
What is your priority?
Right now, I'd say it's T20 cricket. It's definitely the format that I'm best at. It's the format I enjoy the most, which is probably the most important thing for me as a person. And that's where it is. I think everybody says it, but I want to be the best in the world at this. In the same way that everybody says it, does everybody put the time into doing it, or are they split across different formats? The old saying, "Jack of all trades, king of none." So I think it's another one that's a moving picture. What's it going to look like in 2 years' time? What's it going to look like in 3 years' time? There are no easy answers.
Yeah.
to this question.
Is it just a reality of your generation? Because you'd imagine from England, you look at Test cricket and it's the epitome and it's the purest format. And if there are now a generation of England cricketers who want to prioritize the shorter formats because they think they're better at it, do you feel back home that shift has happened in terms of generational mindsets?
That's the strange thing for me is like, you ask if people are accepting of it. Is it up to them? They're like,
Does it matter if they accept it?
Does it really matter for them? We're seeing it both ways, which is the interesting part. It's not like the whole world saying, "Oh, I just want to play T20 cricket," or "I just want to play white ball cricket." As I said, there are guys that haven't come to this IPL because they want to prioritize Test cricket, and that's good for them. That's their decision. Are people accepting of guys prioritizing Test cricket over T20 cricket? We don't hear that conversation happening very much. So it's an interesting one. Who are people to judge other people's decisions in their careers almost without getting too deep? Do you know what I'm saying?
You can get deep. This is a place you can get
You
deep.
know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Why I ask that question is because a lot of people look at England now and say you're in this passage of transition, right? Which every team goes through. It's fair. It happens to everyone. Having been the trendsetters or the torchbearers of a way of playing for so long, the change that we see in T20 cricket now, the power game, you can go back and say, was this because of baseball and the way that they changed their approach in Test cricket, and it's filtered into the shorter formats where, 45 power play is just not acceptable anymore. 150 total is just not acceptable anymore. So do you feel that being trendsetters to now being in transition, have you personally felt the effect of that being a player in the system?
I remember the World Cup semi-final when we won it in Australia, playing against India. And I think at that point in time, we were absolutely trendsetters in the global game and had been for a few years. The way that we played that night, I was batting 3 and I didn't get in. Halesey and Joss were brutal at the top, and they played in such a carefree manner. It was, there was no stopping us on that night at all. I think that's, that was a product of so many years of working in the right direction. And then I feel like, India probably made the switch to now where they're the trendsetters in the global game and where they're leading the pack. And I think that World Cup semi in Guyana sort of showed that. Again on that day, especially at that venue as well, they would have really taken some beating. But I think it's changing, as it always does, and hopefully there's a time in the not so distant future where we're back on top.
How much of a role are you going to play in that? How much is that in your manifesto or your vision board in terms of the commitment from you? Must be something you think about a lot.
Yeah, it is, definitely. Playing international cricket is very special, and I think if we were to get to a point in the future where we're back on top, I see myself as central to that, and especially in the way that we play in T20 cricket. So yeah, that's definitely something I've got, sort of earmarked for the future. But you can't look too far ahead sometimes either.
Do you put pressure on yourself if you're looking far ahead?
Definitely. Definitely. You got to work on a day-to-day basis. Got to be very process-driven. Got to make sure I tick the small stuff first. So, the small stuff like getting in the gym and making sure you're making the right decisions for your body, first and foremost. And then I think after that, comes the cricket side of things. If I take myself away from the small goals and just focus on the big goals, I think that's when I personally lose a lot of clarity. I've found that out in the past. I found that out when I was a very young player. So I think everything for me is day by day, very small, very process driven, not so much results focused.
So this is a 18th season of the IPL. It's taken English cricketers a long time to get used to the IPL, right? It's taken us a long time to have so many English cricketers prevalent. Obviously, you had a different upbringing because you were back in the West Indies as well. But what used to be the conversations around what IPL is and what it means, and when English players would make themselves choose to be available for IPL, because taken a while actually in
Yeah.
terms of acceptance.
Yeah, I remember talking to Fred Flintoff in the West Indies, and he was reminding me of a time when it was only two guys getting picked up, and Fred and Kev would get picked up, and that would be it. I think we've spoken about it a little bit. I think it's testament to what we did under Morgie's leadership. I wasn't involved for all of that, but I think it's definitely testament to that, and the stuff that Morgie and those guys put in place, and even Mo Bobat as well. What those guys put in place, I think is absolutely due to that, and I want to see it continue as well. I want to see as many English guys out here driving the standards of the competition, because I know if we're doing that, then English cricket will be in a good place.
Do you feel that was kind of changing the template, like the core of what, because that's what needs to happen for a nation to progress, the core of what you perceived English cricket to be under Ian Morgan? Was it just changing that template? Because 2015 World Cup was a hard one. It was a hard one to take. And from then you just see English cricket really changing.
Yeah, obviously, Morgie was given the reins, and they flew under his leadership. As soon as they started thinking about skinning the cat slightly differently, they flew. Obviously, we've got Baz now as well, and I think they're quite similar in the way that they think. So hopefully, we have some sort of not a repeat, but the right stuff picked and used at the right time, and we can get back there as soon as possible.
Maga. Weather Andre, perfect fit. Cinema Andre, super hit. 10 minutes Andre.
Boys, big basket. 10 minutes Andre, big basket. 10 minutes Andre, big basket.
Big Basket, delivering in Bengaluru and everywhere in 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, it's pretty cool that you open for RCB now, and there used to be a certain Chris Gale who used to do that. And have you ever thought of it from that perspective of openers, overseas openers for RCB over the years, and now kind of fitting into that role or wearing those sort of shoes?
Yeah, the fans.
Chris and Faf and
the fans don't let you forget it.
They don't. Yeah.
So coming into this competition, there's a lot of talk around Faf, and it was more about Virat's batting partners actually.
Yeah.
So it's like we had Gale, AB, then we had Faf, and now it's this guy. Is he any good? Sort of thing.
Has he peppered the boundaries?
So the fans don't let you forget it. Which I like. I like playing for a big team. And you don't get bigger than RCB.
Yeah.
I think the numbers sort of say that. But no, I like that sort of added pressure. I like the chance to sort of really put my name on it.
We used to always think that these guys have it the best. They have the best conditions. They have the time. They have the luxury to be able to go ahead and accumulate. But you don't see that in this game anymore. And it looks like you personally are really looking to hit the first ball either for a boundary or a six. Is that your mindset, that it has to come off the blade in the first ball itself, and that's how I set the tone?
That's not like a conscious thought, but it happens quite a lot. I think someone told me the other day it's 1 in 3 that I hit the first ball of the game for 4, which I'm quite happy with. Especially for something you're not focusing on. But that's the game, it doesn't matter if it's the first
So it doesn't
ball.
matter like matchups, who the bowler is, conditions.
It definitely, you're definitely aware.
Yeah.
But I feel like, whether it's the first ball of the game or the last ball of the game, a half volley is a half volley. If they miss, you should hit. If they give you anything, that's a little bit loose or not where they want to bowl, I feel like you have to put it away now. There's no margin to go 10 off 10.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, you're either struggling to assess or struggling to adapt, or you've not chosen the right options. And that might sound like maybe I'm being quite hard on myself in a way, but I feel like my team's going to win. I feel like I've got to do that really, really well, because I know that if I bat even 20 balls, batting at my career strike rate in the IPL, I know that my team has already had a great push into going the distance in winning the game. And then I know if I bat 40 balls, 50 balls, I feel like we should win 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. Well, those are pretty high numbers actually to back yourself on. That's good to have that sort of confidence. Where does it come from?
I think it's faith in doing the small things really well.
Tell me what the small things are.
So if I go to training today, from the start of the day, if I get in the gym, take care of my body today, and we've got meetings afterwards, if I can sit in them and add the right thing at the right time and listen and take in the right things at the right time, and I can then go apply that to my training, and I can go into my training and I'm going to prepare for the Rajasthan attack tomorrow, what the wicket might play like, where I'm scoring at the Chinnaswamy, where the batters who have got runs at the Chinnaswamy have scored. If I can do all that and I focus on hitting the ball in the right places, and being still and having a base, making sure my head's in the right position, if I can do all that well, I feel like my game's in a good place, then I know come tomorrow I'll be full of confidence, and I'll be ready to hopefully put in a match-winning contribution. So it's like I really like to dial in on the small things, and hopefully that leaves me in a good position more times than it doesn't.
What happens if that routine gets disrupted? Does it throw you off completely, or is it, I'm sure it happens. I mean, things are so unpredictable, right?
Yeah, they are.
But if the small things then set you off if it doesn't work out?
Well, I hope that's where, sort of routine comes into it, where I'm completely in control of that. So I'm completely in control of the time I take in between balls at training, the time I take in between balls in the middle, exactly what I do. So it's things that I'm in complete control of. So really there's no excuse for my routine to not be spot on.
You're not in control of this though.
I'm not
And
in control
all sorts of events, promo events.
No, I'm not in control of the shoots.
All those sort of shoots and the dancing and the whatever play acting that you've been doing this season.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you played in the IPL before, but it is so part and parcel of it. You seem to have a great camaraderie or character when it comes to these sort of things. We see that version of yourself. But do you really take it all in, or is it still kind of odd for you?
Yeah, well, you have to. There's no choice.
Yeah, that's true. There's no choice.
I've only... They say dance. I say, no, I'm not dancing. And then eventually 5 minutes later, we realise that I'll do maybe 2 moves.
Yeah. I should have picked up more by now. Your repertoire of dance moves should be 5 at least.
Yeah, I don't know. I say I'm not going to dance, and I always end up dancing.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things, you have to take it on the chin.
You'll say I won't do any interviews, and here you are sitting for one, breaking your pre-match routines. Yeah. But how much of it, I mean, obviously, that's the demands of the IPL. How much it's very different to playing international cricket because it's amalgamation of different cultures. Does you having grown up and having a universal childhood kind of help you adjust to this?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't know why it is. I love playing with the West Indian boys.
Of course, yeah.
If I see an auction or a draft and I've got Carl Mayers, Jason Holder, sometimes CJ, Joff. If we're in the same team, then I know I'm going to have a good month or 2 months or however long it is. I love playing with those boys. Same with Sheppy here. I know that Sheppy's here. I've known that from the outset.
Yeah.
Love hanging out with the guy. Honestly, the boys just crack me up. So, I think it definitely helps.
Were you and Joff in the same school?
We weren't in the same school, but we used to play at the same club side for touring games. So a lot of teams would come over to Barbados on school tours or cricket tours, and there's a guy called Ian Best. Shout out Ian if you're watching. and he used to get a team together to play against, and Joff would always be there. And I think we'd have been 11 or 12 at the time. And Joff would run in with the new ball, hit a load of English kids, swing them back and just pepper guys in the shoulder. And it was quick then. It's quick now, but it was properly quick then for how old we were. And then after he did that, he would then bowl some leg spin. And then for the last 10 overs, he'd bowl some leg spin as well. And then for the last 10 overs, he'd just be shouting at me from across the pitch, give me the gloves. So then eventually So he'd do all three. He'd bowl his seamers, then he'd bowl spin, and then he'd keep to finish. And if you asked Joff today and you said, "Oh, reckon you can keep in the IPL?" He said, "Yeah, 100%."
Yeah, of course. His confidence is next level, yeah. He's a bit of a Nostradamus as well, right? What is it with all these tweets from 7 years ago? And come on, like, how does that happen?
He was active on Twitter.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Joff he was very
It's
active.
still relevant today, though.
Maga. Weather Andre, perfect fit. Cinema Andre, super hit. 10 minutes Andre.
Boys, big basket. 10 minutes, Andre, big basket. 10 minutes, Andre, big basket.
Big Basket, delivering in Bengaluru and everywhere in 10 minutes.
You said that, you've been getting off strike in a similar manner. You've been taking the first ball every once and third is always. It's very different because I've interviewed a couple of like Tim David and Jitesh recently who've spoken about the role of finishers. And the role of finishers, if you go for the big shot, you get out, it's okay. Is it different for you going for the big shot and then getting out because you haven't reached a team goal in the power play? Do you ever take that pressure on, or is there feedback or criticism that comes that way if you go for a big shot?
There can be. What I've got to do is make sure that it's in my framework. So if I do something that is part of my plan and it doesn't come off, welcome to the game of cricket. It's not straightforward all the time. But if I'm doing it in a high percentage way for myself that's putting pressure back on the bowler, then I'm in a good place. Then I can live with it all day long. Same way I can live with getting out in my first couple of balls. That's just part of the game. One thing I don't want to do is I don't want to face 10 balls, be on 20, then get out. That's the worst thing I could do, in my opinion. I feel like once you get to, 20, 30 runs, whatever it is, and a lot of the time I haven't even looked at the scoreboard by then. I'm just playing. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. Bat versus ball. What's he trying to do? What am I going to do? If I can do that and stay in my own framework, then I feel like the outcome will be whatever the outcome will be. I've just got to be nailed on with exactly what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. So again, like sometimes you look up at the scoreboard, you're none down. It's the start of the 6th over, and you're thinking, right, we're in a good position. I'm gonna ruin someone's day now, and that's how. And that can go both ways.
Ruin something.
So, yeah, that's how you.
Proper carnage talk. War talk, right?
But that's how it can, how it can be sometimes. And sometimes you hit that over for 20, and right, we're on here. We've got 9 batters still to come. Whoever, regardless of who the impact sub is, and that we're in a strong spot. Sometimes you can go too hard, but again, if it's within your framework, then that works.
What happens if you're 2 off 6 though? And I know you're not usually in those positions, but it can happen. Are you desperate then to release the pressure of yourself, or is it time to switch into consolidate mode?
No, definitely not time for consolidate mode. It's time to do it differently, I think. It all depends on how that 2 off 6 plays out. So if that 2 off 6 was, a bowler that's bowling well and he's hitting the length and he's hit the same area, maybe 5 balls within an area like that and a good bumper or something like that, you say fair play. Like that can work. Who's on at the other end now? And put it behind you. Sometimes it can be, right, this isn't working. Why is this not working? And then change what you do. So sometimes you have to give the bowler credit because they're allowed to bowl good balls. They're allowed to have high skill as well. With the way the game's going, sometimes we can get suckered into, why has the batter done that? Why? No, the bowlers are allowed to bowl good balls. They spend all week preparing for the game as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to give them credit where it's due, and they don't get a lot of it either. Sometimes bowlers are on a hide into nothing in this game because they bowl a good set and get a batter out. It's, why has he done that? How many times did you hear that on commentary? So sometimes you have to, know where the line is in terms of giving them credit or maybe changing what you need to do.
Oh, you actually empathize with bowlers. Wow.
So I understand it's a hard game. Yeah. I understand it's a hard game.
It's nice to hear you say that kind of, yeah. Especially because I had Tim David and Josh Hazelwood sit down and I was like, how is it with the English boys? Like, what's the conversations there? Are we watching Ashes reignited? And there's some of those moments, but it must be nice having like Liam as well, and you have your own little pockets, your own little groups. Do those international rivalries ever play out in the dressing room?
I think that time is well and truly gone.
Yeah.
I think playing against them, you know each other so well now. Starkey's a good example.
Yeah.
I played against him this summer just gone. A top edge 1 for 6 over a third man, and he's in the middle of the wicket smiling at me. 20 years ago, I feel like all hell would break loose.
Yeah.
Listening to old stories of England versus Australia, but I think the game's in such a different spot now. I think the only time you really see it come out is when two guys don't know each other, which is not, to be honest, it doesn't happen very often. And more often than not, if you have something with someone on the pitch and you come off and you're like, oh, he's an idiot. Why is he behaving like that? There's normally like 7 guys in the dressing room, telling that person, I know he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's a solid dude. Like, I know myself and Siraj have had a couple of battles in the past, but everyone goes, Siraj, he's a legend.
Yeah.
And he is a legend as well. So those things, it doesn't happen very much anymore.
Is it because the fans don't let you forget, or social media doesn't let you forget that? Or is it something that being a competitor you inherently kind of carry? Because that's also quite normal,
You have to carry it.
Yeah.
You have to carry it. And there's other games where, you carry it for yourself and on behalf of the fans as well. So going into Chennai, it's my second game for RCB, but I was under no illusion that this was just another game of cricket. Like, I knew full well that this was different because of the guys that have been here for a number of years, the way they spoke about it. That was my Manchester derby. So it's like, all right, how would I want him to behave if he was playing for City against United now?
Yeah.
That's the way I think about
That's
it.
great. Who said the most relevant thing to make you understand how big it was this year after? Because you would have seen the match last year. You were playing in a different kit.
Yeah.
You would have seen it and seen how things played out. And who said what to make you understand, this is a big one?
I think I was walking off training and I think the media team were interviewing someone about it. Yeah. It might have been maybe a DK or something.
Yeah.
And I think I realised this was a bigger game than usual. And then you just hear people talk, you pick up on it a little bit more now that you're aware of it. You realise, okay, this is a big game.
There have been some big performances away from home this season for RCB. Have you kind of enjoyed that energy or understood what it means for the fans back home?
Yeah, definitely. I think every ground we play at, all you hear is RCB, which is different. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of away games. Feels like we are the best supported team wherever we go. Yeah, that's how it feels.
One player who you happen to open the innings with, right? So all eyes are on you as well because of that.
Dev Padikal.
He's pretty loved too.
Yeah.
But you enjoy it, right? It looks like you're enjoying it,
Love it.
enjoying the energy of it, and
Yeah, that's the most important thing for me, is the enjoyment. I know that in my career so far and in my life in general, I'm no good at something unless I'm enjoying it. So I really enjoy leaning into that side of things where, I can take in a game like a game against the CSK and go, you know what, how good will this be if we get a win? And I get my enjoyment from that side of things.
So how do you take in the hard days then?
You got to ride them out. This is a game of failure, isn't it? Cricket. How do I say this without sounding too philosophical?
Okay, you can be philosophical. You won't be the first sitting in that chair who's somehow seen my face and be like, let's be philosophical. It's okay.
I just don't think you've got...
I think I bring out that version of people. We've had a couple of philosophy chats here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know.
I don't think you've got any right to enjoy the good days if you can't ride out the bad ones.
Yeah.
And if you get off a plane turning up for your IPL franchise thinking that every day is going to be a good day, you've got another thing coming. I think over half of them are going to be bad days. Just by the numbers, that's what it says. Welcome to professional cricket. But it's about how you ride the bad days out. That's where I lean into being process driven and reminding myself that my goal is always to win the game for my team. That might not mean I have the most incredible stats on paper. You know, I still want to get to the end of the IPL. I want to be striking at such a number, averaging such a number. I want X amount of player of the matches. I want all that. But I've got to just go back, remind myself, I want to win games. What does that look like? What do I need to do to get there? And go back to that every time. And I think if I can do that on the bad days, then I'm earning the right for a good few good days.
With all this data analysis that's given, are you aware of your numbers? Do you keep track of what strike rates, matchups, averages, matches, like you just mentioned now?
No, I'm not aware of it right now because I don't really want to be. I know my strike rate because that comes up on the big screen every time I go out to bat. You know, I'll probably look when hopefully I tick over 1,000 runs this IPL runs this season. I think that's probably the next goal in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, I don't go thinking about it every time I go out to bat. But I think that's my next goal. I'll probably have a look then. But I think at the moment it's about giving my team the best start, capitalising on that start and winning the game.
What are some of the best conversations that you've had in this group? It's such a varying character. Some have played cricket for so long, some are so new entrants in it. What have been the kind of conversations that you've had within this team?
I think we've got a coaching staff who lean into not necessarily just the playing side, but the off-pitch side as well. So I think they make it their business to know each player individually. I've enjoyed some of my chats with Andy, Mo, Stick, all at different times. The fact out here, they make it their business to know you as a person in order to get the best out of you on the cricket field. You know, it's not like you get to Chinnaswamy for training and then the conversations start. Conversations can happen anywhere.
Yeah. Who are the guys you vibe with in this team? I've heard some stories about you.
About me?
Yeah.
I don't know if there are.
They have some footage about you. They have lots of footage on you.
God.
What have you been up to here?
I think I've got a good little crew where I sit on the bus.
Do you sit in the back?
No, I sit at the front.
Oh, usually it's the guys in the back who create all the trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
The best place for having a laugh at the front. I've got Bethel next to me, Hazelwood, and then Freddie Wild, the analyst, one over from him. And that's how it stays. So we normally have a good laugh on the bus. Away from, you know, like bus trips or whatever, the physio room is a funny place to be.
I'm sure, yeah.
Pipey, Evan, Nav, the doctor, they're always up to something, which is really funny. It is really good because you don't often get that out of sports science and medicine department. So that's a pretty good place to be. And then dinner-wise, you know, probably hang out with Tim David, Sheppy, Siyash Sharma. Jitesh has come a few times. So those are the sort of guys that I know if I'm going for dinner with them, I'm going to have a good laugh.
Does everyone get your sense of humor? Sometimes that can be hard, right?
Oh yeah, I don't think everyone does.
Yeah?
I think because sometimes I think the language barrier can be a real thing. So sometimes I'll say things with a straight face and it will take a moment for it to land with people. Yeah, so I think sometimes that could be a thing, but I think when people come to get it and they're on their toes a bit more, I think
now people understand you. We understand your dry humor. This is just English humor. We get it.
Yeah.
How does this amalgamation of cultures like for you? Like, what part of it do you really take into? What part of, like, I guess, home do you miss? Like, how do you balance that when you're traveling?
What do I miss? Probably walking the dog. Is probably what I miss. Probably staying in touch with people.
Yeah.
Probably the only thing. Probably just throw the AirPods in and ring a few people and see if anyone's having a laugh at home.
Yeah.
If they're not, then the conversation ends pretty quick. I'm like, right, boring, next. So that's generally how I do it. I think we've got such a good group of people that I don't think you actually end up, you know, getting like that. There's always someone pulling you out your room. There's always something going on with this group of players that we have, that you don't find yourself often in a dull moment. Like last night, it was like the cricket finished. We watched it up here in the team room. All of a sudden, Basu, the strength and conditioning coach, was like, "Salty, come on!" And I was like, "What?" And it was gone midnight. And he was like, "TT, we're playing ping pong now. Come on." And I think we must have said one last game about 16 times And I went back. I'd just been out for dinner as well. Jeans, trainers, shirt. I was dripping with sweat at like 1 o'clock in the morning playing TT. So there's always something to be doing.
When you walked into this dressing room, was there a person who you had different impressions about and ended up being really different? Or did people have different impressions of you? Because you've come from what was a winning side as well. So they could have said, oh, this guy will have airs about him. Was there anything like that when you walked into this dressing room?
Probably Hazelwood. Probably Josh, if anyone. Because I've played against him a fair bit now. And I've had my days where I've played him really well. And I've also had my days where, you know, he's been on top form. And, you know, it's not been easy. So he was an interesting one, seeing if he was going to be a big, miserable seam bowler, because some of them can get like that. But
Not this season, no.
no, he's absolutely brilliant. He's a legend.
Obviously, you know you're going to be batting besides Virat, who's the most watched, the most analyzed player. And you also just kind of, because of that, you're also in the spotlight quite a bit. Have you ever thought of it from that way?
I know what you mean, but I feel like if anything, it stands out to me that I'm not in the spotlight. Because the amount of times where maybe I go boundary, get off strike, and I'm like, it's a good 3 balls. That's 9 off 3. and then the crowd's going crazy because Virat's on strike. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not the main character here, and I quite like that.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, actually. Let me just tell you that as broadcasters, we talk about you a lot. So even if you don't want to be the main character, you are. So your stats, your numbers are always coming up. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. I'm looking forward to a great season for you, and thanks for the conversations.
Thanks very much.
Big Basket presents the RCB podcast.
Okay, so our digital partners, Big Basket, would like to present you with this. There you go, the wafers are right.
Yeah,
that's yours.
That's me. That's all I'll need.
And the headphones. And come on, we got the healthy snacks on as well.
Take the chocolates. We'll need
course
them.
we will.
We'll need them at a later date. And the headphones to give to whichever annoying person is playing the music out loud on the bus.
I thought you control the music in the bus at the top.
No.
Okay, fair enough. But thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the hamper.
Thank you very much.